cats are so happy that I'm back. They have not left me alone for 1 second. Time to climb a rock.
And is the dodo no hero or whatever is alive? Oh, that's cool. That was really fun.
So I came to the gym early so that I could go from the gym to D&D. Because D&D is supposed to be at noon, and they messaged and they're like, oh, let's go 1 o'clock. That's my whole day. Drives me crazy. But that means I can lift a little bit more weights today, I guess. Okay, I tried not to go too crazy in the gym, and I think I hit the perfect level of like lifting. So now I'm kind of like, oh man, that 1 o'clock delay puts a hiccup in my day. So I guess I'm gonna run over to Dollarama and try to find some protein and then eat and then try to do a bit of leisure writing, I guess. Got an hour to burn. Wicked fun RP session. Eric is the DM right now and he built a game based on like Final Fantasy Tactics where we each have like certain skills and we move around the map just like tactics. And it's like wickedly fun. It's exactly like playing Final Fantasy Tactics but like in an RP. It's genius, absolutely genius. Really fun. Now I'm going to go eat some food. I'm so hungry right now. Man, Eric's RP is genius. Yeah, oh my gosh, that's genius. Anyway, I just came back from that and then watched The Rainmaker with Matt Damon, which was actually really good. It's one of the better legal things, like TV shows and movies that I've seen. And not that I've seen a lot of them or anything, but they actually did a really good job of talking about like discovery and pre-trial and a bit of like privileged information. It was handled very well. It was really interesting. Cool movie. I love Matt Damon, man. Guy makes some really interesting movies. Seems like a nice guy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be honest. I'm so tired after that workout. That's like my first workout in 8 days. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm so tired. That was a lot of working out. So off to bed and then back up tomorrow. And then tomorrow's my last EDO before vacation. That's gonna be crazy. So, okay, when I edit the vlog, I feel weird posting these videos of just me talking a lot because it's like, I don't know, is that entertaining at all? But anyways, this is my vlog and I do what I want, so I'm going to talk about some legal stuff. So, some particular kind of important parts of like contract law that I find really interesting. Like the more I learn about, is Ori behind me? Oh my gosh, you're so cute, Ori. So like, it's framed a lot of the way I think about just general communication with everybody in a few ways. So there's like the most important thing, well, I guess like there's a lot of different important things, but what I think about is what's called good faith and materiality. And then discovery is an interesting concept as well. But good faith is like the most important concept in my mind when it comes to any kind of like negotiation or legal kind of things. And what that means, so there's good faith and there's bad faith. So good faith means you're engaging with the process in a genuine sense because you're doing, like the actions that you're doing are for the purpose that is reasonably believed that they're for there to be. So like if you're asking a question to learn something, that's a good faith question. Bad faith is when you're engaging in a process to manipulate the process to an end that you would like. So if you're asking a question structured in a certain way to get a certain response or to frame somebody in a certain light, that would be bad faith. So that's just one example of it. But it kind of presents itself in all these other different kinds of things. Like people can kind of talk to you, like particularly like managers or leaders, they can talk to you and be like, oh, you don't really do well at this job. And if you contest that, then they may kind of punish you in some sense. So they're engaging with you in a bad faith way that is not necessarily like a questioning kind of legal contract kind of term, but there's all kinds of like bad faith and good faith, genuine and disingenuous engagement, and it's really relevant in legal stuff. And I just find that really interesting. Just thinking about like good faith, because if something's in bad faith, then not necessarily to act in bad faith back. You shouldn't, but you should be extremely protective of kind of, in a sense, your rights and yourself in those situations. Whereas if someone is acting demonstratively in good faith, you can be a bit more upfront about things. So a central concept that I think about all the time now with my work in school, and it's just a fascinating thing to think about. Another thing is materiality. So materiality means that information has to be relevant to the thing being discussed in order to be considered. So an example would be like if somebody like, I don't know, what's a good example? Like if someone beat somebody up and then went home and got changed, and then their defense was, oh, I'm wearing a red shirt, that guy's wearing a blue shirt, that would be an immaterial fact when it comes to the occurrence. And this kind of ties in with good faith. So like the question is like whether or not that person's that person. The shirt is immaterial, so people can confound things by presenting information that is immaterial to the topic being kind of espoused. And that's a really interesting thing when it comes to, again, negotiation and communication. Is like, in layman's terms, it's like, is this thing we're talking about actually important to what we're talking about, and is it relevant? Because if it's not, then it shouldn't be considered. And that's the question of materiality, which is really important when it comes to like contentious engagement, because people will contest things and argue with you out of the nature of contention and just to be maybe try to catch you or be weird like that. But the materiality is what really matters overall when it comes to that specific decision making. So that's just an interesting thing, particularly as I have more and more contentious conversations in my life. That's a really interesting thing to think about. And then I think I talked about discovery and privilege. Discovery is a really interesting thing in law, and I've argued this in a lot, but I'll talk about it in a more general sense. So discovery is when two parties do not agree to settle things, and they're going to go to court, or they're going to go to some kind of like legal process, whether it be an appeals commission or something like that. And they go through a process of discovery, which means that they take all the material information that both parties have and they present them to each other so that both parties have all of the information that both parties are looking at. And the idea here is that this difference of opinion may occur because they aren't looking at the same information, and when presented with the entire information of both parties, that it may become clear to the contesting parties what the right thing to do is, and that way they can settle it without it going to court and being kind of arbitrated by somebody else that isn't even involved in the process. So that's the idea of discovery. In layman's terms, it means being transparent and getting transparency in order to resolve something or communicate effectively. And I've talked about, I don't know if I've talked about this on the vlog, but I've talked about it a lot in real life. Like as an anxious person, when people talk to me about like communication methods and they go like assertiveness, you have to be firm and all these things. Assertiveness is transparency. It's the good faith description of what you see, what you understand, what you believe, and what you want, and accepting the transparency of the other party to come to a good faith agreement. So the idea of discovery, just in layman's terms, is, I think, a really interesting commentary on assertiveness. Anyways, that was just some random things that I thought about while watching Rainmaker, and now I turned into a 7-minute rant on my vlog. So I hope that that was semi-interesting to anybody. It will probably be interesting, at least to me, when I come back and watch this in like a year or two. But yeah, a good movie. I'm really enjoying the old movies I've been watching. Dead Poet Society 2, banger.